The Fischer projections of monosaccharides, showing them as linear in structure, are actually not correct. Pentoses and hexoses, 5 and 6 carbon monosaccharides, exist in nature in solution in the bloodstream, in cells, and 99.9% of the time they are actually forming rings. And let's take a look at the chemical reaction that occurs in these monosaccharides that forms a ring. We're going to focus on the formation first of a hemiacetal, and that's because we're going to spend a lot of time looking at how D-glucose exists in solution. And glucose is an aldose. It has that aldehyde functional group. And hemiacetal forms from an aldehyde and an alcohol. So on glucose, this aldehyde group is going to react with the alcohol functional group, that hydroxyl group, on carbon 5. So an aldehyde and an alcohol can react, and what we see here is the carbon-oxygen double bond on the aldehyde has a dashed red line. This dashed red line is actually going to break during this reaction. And on the alcohol group, we have a dashed red line between the oxygen and the hydrogen in the hydroxyl functional group. This bond is going to break during this reaction as well. And we have a dashed blue line between carbon and oxygen, and this is the bond that is going to form. Now, this chemical reaction is possible because oxygen is highly electronegative, and in the alcohol has a partial negative charge. The aldehyde, the carbonyl group, is also highly polar. The oxygen has a partial negative, and the carbon has a partial positive because of that. So the attraction between the partial positive on the aldehyde carbonyl carbon and the partial negative charge on the oxygen and the alcohol group allows for these two to become attracted to one another and eventually form a bond. So what happens? We form this hemiacetal product where the carbonyl carbon forms a single bond with the oxygen that was in that alcohol group, and the hydrogen that was on that alcohol, bonded to that alcohol, is now bonded to the oxygen that was originally in the aldehyde. So this is what we're going to see when glucose forms a ring structure, a hemiacetal product, and this is an organic reaction. We see it in the ring formation of glucose.